Ayan, hello class, magandang araw sa inyong lahat and welcome sa ating discussion for chapter 9 I think about the laws, policies and programs for Philippine women. Before we proceed with the discussion, let me share with you yung ating ano ko lang yan, ating learning objectives. So, you as the students, you should be able to identify yung mga Philippine laws that protect women and the LGBTQIA plus community from violence, harassment, and discrimination. Dapat alam nyo ding i-differentiate between yung four types of violence against women and their children as defined under Republic Act 9262, which will be discussed later on, and also be able to explain the legal protections and support systems available for victims of trafficking, rape, and workplace discrimination. And lastly, analyze the importance of gender-responsive legislation in promoting inclusive development and national nation building. Okay, so let's start. First law, we have here the Republic Act number 9262, or also known as Anti-Violence Against Women and Their Children Act of 2004. Well, I'm so sorry, sinusumpong ako ng allergic rhinitis. Okay, so itong batas na ito, it was passed noong 2004 para maprotektahan ang mga kababaihan at ang mga bata, mga anak nila, from abuse na nagawa ng isang tao na merong close relationship sa kanila, kagaya ng husband, ex-husband, boyfriend, or yung tatay ng anak. Yan. So, ang main idea ng law na ito, it makes it illegal para sa isang partner or ex-partner na saktan, kontrolin, abusuhin ang babae or ang kanyang anak in any way, mapa-physical, emotional, sexually, or financially. So, ang anti-VAUC, ito yung act na kung saan yung harm or suffering ng isang babae or ng isang bata ay related to physical harm, emotional or mental abuse, sexual abuse, financial control or deprivation, and also threats or intimidation. So, physical harm, obviously, sinasaktan, binubugbog, ano ba? At anong pananakit sa physical? Emotional or mental abuse, yung bang bukod na sa sinasaktan mo pa, hindi mo pa pinapahalagahan. And yung taong yun nakadevelop sa kanya, nagkaroon ng psychological um, effect sa kanya na hindi maganda. Also, sexual abuse. Pwedeng nare-rape siya without the consent of the partner. Or merong financial control or deprivation, ibig sabihin, hindi nila nakukuha ng sapat yung dapat na nakukuha nilang pangangailangan nila when it comes to money. Example, allowance. Siyempre, right ng partner mo, asawa mo, or ng anak mo na kumain. So, bigyan mo ng pera, sustentuhan. And also, threats or intimidation, tinatakot sila. And we have four types of violence. So, physical violence, obviously, bodily harm, sinabi ko kanina. Actually, na-explain ko na, no? Hitting, slapping, pushing, or beating. Sexual violence, yung forced, yung sinabi ko kanina, or unwanted sexual acts. Example, rape, sexual harassment, pinipilit mo yung isa na gumawa ng sexual acts or prostitution, pasok siya sa sexual violence. Psychological violence, nakakaapekto sa feelings and mental health ng isang tao. For example, iniinsulto, may mga threats, ini-stalk, pinapahiya, or making someone feel worthless. And yung economic abuse, or ito din, pasok din siya sa financial control or deprivation, na kung saan ang isang tao, kinukuha niya yung financial support na dapat sa kanila. Na-explain ko na to kanina. So the protection for victims of VAUC, we have the una, Barangay Protection Order or BPO. So galing ito sa barangay. Kailan ang hanggang kailan ang effectivity ng Barangay Protection Order? So ang Barangay Protection Order is effective for 15 days. Ayan, saglit lang. Paki-take note itong mga ito 15 days from the issuance para magbigay ng immediate safety against domestic violence. Binibigay yan ng punong barangay or kagawad and meron itong order dun sa perpetrator na itigil na niya yung violence or threats na ginagawa niya sa mga kababaihan at sa bata. So ano to, immediate to. Once na ni-release, immediate na susundin. Okay, next is we have the temporary protective or protection order. Yan. So, ang temporary protection order in the Philippines or TPO, effective naman siya for 30 days. So, ginagamit siya ex parte or it is issued ex parte. Ibig sabihin, binibigay siya kahit hindi pa naririnig yung kampo ng isa. So, court ang nagbibigay nito to protect victims of domestic violence. Ang TPO, pwede siyang i-extend, pwede rin siyang i-renew. Kung yung hearing may ongoing about permanent protection order. Valid siya for 30 days. And ang nag-i-issue ay ang korte. Next, we have the permanent protection order. So, sa permanent protection order naman, binibigay siya after ng hearing. And effectively, upon issuance, effective na magti-take over na or in effect na ang permanent protection order. So, itong PPO na to, pwede siyang i-revoke or i-modify ng korte para lang magbigay ng long-term protection against domestic violence. And wala siyang parang days kung hanggang kailan lang. Pag sinabi na ng korte na okay na, i-revoke na yung PPO, okay na siya. Mag-expire na rin siya. Okay. Saan na tayo? Yan. For the protection for victims, we also need to give counseling and support. Emotional and psychological help from government agencies or non-government organizations. For example, dyan, yung mga free legal aid, medical aid, mental health support, mga ganon. Dapat din merong mga safe shelters, yung mga temporary na safe homes for victims na pinoprovide ng DSWD or NGOs. Parang kunwari bahay pag-asa, mga ganyan. Yung kung saan nilalagay mga bata, ayan, may mga safe shelters. And penalties for violators, 1 to 6 months or imprisonment or tinatawag nating aresto mayor, and 6 years and 1 day to 12 years imprisonment kapag prison mayor. Napaka-importante ng batas na to kasi it protects victims fully or in the whole aspect, physical, emotional, sexual, and financial abuse. And also, it empowers women and children na kung saan binibigyan sila ng legal protection and support. And nagsiset ito ng strong rule na kung saan pinapakita na yung abuse sa mga relasyon is a serious crime. Okay? Next, we have Republic Act 7877 or tinatawag na Anti-Sexual Harassment Act. It was passed in the year 1995 to protect people from sexual harassment in workplace, in school, and in training settings. So, yung sexual harassment, it's a crime. Especially kapag ginawa siya ng isang tao na in a position of power or authority. Kagabi, may nabasa ako na, I think dito yun sa Baguio City, nagki-training na pulis ata, crime na babae, and then ni-rape siya ng police instructor. So, pasok siya sa Anti-Sexual Harassment Act. pasok din siya sa anti-VAUSI. Patong-patong ang kaso nun for sure. So, what is sexual harassment? Ang sexual harassment, it happens kung ang isang tao in authority like for example, boss, teacher, coach, or trainer, nag-ask siya, nagtatanong siya, or nagsasabi siya, nagdi-demand, or nagpe-pressure siya ng isang tao to do sexual favors. So, nangyayari ito sa work, sa school, and it is still considered harassment kahit na yung victim does not agree or nag-agree. Either way, sexual harassment yun. So, we have two main settings kung saan nangyayari ang sexual harassment. So, as I have mentioned before, work or employment setting. Example, sa work or employment setting, ang boss, sabi niya sa isang empleyado na patataasin ko yung sahod mo, magpo-promote ka, magkakaroon ka ng job security kapag ka nakipag-sex ka sa akin. O, mag-check-in tayo sa hotel, parang ganon. Or ito yung tinatawag din na quid pro quo. It also includes yung mga sitwasyon na kung saan yung, kunyari, tinanggihan na empleyado na yon. Pero dahil nga tinanggihan, napahiya si boss, binawian niya ngayon sa ibang bagay. Sexual harassment pa rin yun. Kasi binibigyan siya ng unfair treatment. How about in school or training? Sa school naman, yung teacher nagde-demand siya ng sexual favors para lang kapalit na ipasa siya or merong scholarship na igagrant sa kanya. Kapag katinanggihan, nagkikreate ng hostility yung teacher or uncomfortable environment doon sa mga estudyante niya. So the penalties for the offenders of Republic Act 7877, we have the 1 month to 6 months imprisonment and also 10,000 to 20,000 pesos fine or both. Pwedeng either dun sa dalawa or both. Depende sa desisyon ng korte. So employers or schools that do not act on complaints can be punished. Kunyari, pinagtakpan, may parusa din yung school. And ang mga biktima, pwede sila makatanggap ng financial compensation for the damages. So, fina-file din yung moral damages. Republic Act 7877 is important because of the deterrence or yung dinidiscourage yung mga tao from committing sexual harassment kasi meron siyang legal consequences. Additionally, there is protection which gives victims support and safety in school and workplaces. And also, we have the equality na kung saan nare-recognize na ang sexual harassment is a violation of human rights and dignity. Okay? Next on the list, we have Republic Act 9208. Wait lang, i-double check ko lang yung study notes niyo. Yan. Okay, Republic Act 9208 or also known as the Anti-Trafficking in Persons Act, and it was passed in the year 2003 para matigil ang human trafficking, especially kung babae at bata ang involved. So, main idea ng law na ito is it punishes people na nangguguyo, pinipwersa or pinipressure yung mga iba sa sitwasyon na kung saan exploited sila. Exploited meaning they are being sent for prostitution or forced labor. Yung human trafficking class, nangyayari siya kung ang isang tao ay na-recruit, na-transport, or itinago using yung pagpipersa, deception, or abuse of power. Pag sinabi kasi nating deception, no, parang panggagancho. Kunwari, nire-recruit mo ang isang tao para magtrabaho sa UK. O ngayon, itong si victim, umasa siya na UK ang pupuntahan niya. Yun pala, dyan lang sa may tabi-tabi. Kasi magtatrabaho siya, persahan. Pinalabas na ibang bansa pero hindi naman pala. So, in the future, since yung course ninyo is very for the international type, no? Be careful, especially kapag may nagre-recruit sa inyo for abroad or sasakay kayo ng barko, ganyan. Always check or always apply sa agency na legit. Okay, hanapin niyo yung permit nila to operate the business or license ba ang agency na to recruit manpower, mga ganyan. Okay. Ang human trafficking class, ito yung kumukuha ka ng advantage sa ibang tao by controlling sila and gagamitin mo sila para kumita ka or maabuso sila. Yung mga important provisions under Republic Act 9208, may mga criminalized acts yan or illegal activities. So, itong mga actions na to, may parusa yan according to law. Kapag ni-recruit mo ang isang tao because of prostitution, pornography, or forced labor, merong, ano yan, babagsak na agad yan ng RA 9208. Or, uso din kasi ito arranging marriages, especially to foreigners for exploitation, organizing sex tours, or using technology to traffic people. Like for example, yung Zoom, tapos doon may mga, ano bang tawag doon? Parang pornography, pero live. Kasi nga, ah, parang video call, mga ganon. So, for the protection of the victims, our government or the law, they provide no criminal liability, wherein victims are not punished for crimes they were forced to do. Example, nag-prostitute sila, napilitan lang naman sila dahil yun nga ang kinalagyan nila, wala silang choice, di sila makaanis, di sila liable or hindi sila mapaparusahan. But they will be given support services like for example, shelter, legal help, medical and psychological care. So, in the government, ang action nila, meron tayong tinatawag na Interagency Council Against Trafficking. So, this group is led by the Department of Justice and sinisiguro nila na ang law or ang batas is followed. Also, government agencies and non-government organizations, they work together para tulungan yung biktima makarecover and makabalik sa normal niyang pamumuhay. So the penalties for the offenders, either 12 years in prison or merong fine or multa or piyansa na 2 million pesos. So for serious or qualified cases, life imprisonment and up to 5 million pesos na piyansa. Okay? Okay, next we have Republic Act 836. Republic Act 8353 or ang tinatawag natin na Anti-Rape Law Act. Ang sinasabi ng batas na ito is that before that, it was passed in the year 1997 para mas mapalakas pa yung protection against rape and magkaroon ng treatment na it is a serious crime against a person, hindi lang siya morality. So, ang rape, it is now considered a violation ng dignity ng isang tao, even the rights and also yung well-being nila. So, ibig sabihin, RA 8353, it focuses doon sa harm to the victim, hindi lang sa old ideas like honor or purity. And pinag-uusapan na natin dito, dignidad, karapatan at well-being ng isang tao. And the important provisions, rape was redefined and it is now considered as crime against persons. So, a case can still continue kahit na yung victim nag-withdraw siya sa reklamo or pinatawad niya ang offender. Pwede pa ring magtuloy. So, ang rape, kasama na dyan ang sexual intercourse na kung saan pwersahan without consent. Kagaya sabi ko kanina, sexual assault, merong ibang acts, not just intercourse, such as may panghihipo, pamimilit, may panghihipo using intimidation or force, and also ayan, intimidation nga or threat. Meron din tayong marital rape, kasal sila pero may rape na nangyayari. Ang lalaki na asawa can be charged with rape kapag pinilit niya yung asawa niya na mag-sex sila. So marriage is not an excuse for abuse. And the penalties for the offenders will be kapag sexual intercourse, reclusion perpetua, about 20 to 40 years imprisonment. Pag sexual assault, 6 to 20 years imprisonment, depende kung gaano siya kagrabe. And sa severe cases, it may lead to very heavy penalties. Kasama nandiyan yung death penalty. Pero sa Pilipinas, wala tayong death penalty. Na- Next, we have Republic Act 8505, or also known as Rape Victim Assistance and Protection Act. So for the protection of the victims under this law, Republic Act 8505, parehas lang sila ni Republic Act, parehas lang sila nito, ni 8353 or anti-rape law. So itong law na ito, si Rape Victim Assistance, it was passed in 1998 para magbigay ng tulong at suporta sa rape survivors. Sinisigurado na ang mga biktima ng rape hindi sila naiiwan, and binibigyan sila ng medical care, emotional support, and also legal help. So meron tayong mga rape crisis centers, or ito yung mga special centers na ginawa para matulungan yung mga victims. Bibigay sila ng free medical treatment, bibigay sila ng counseling or mental health support, and also legal assistance. These centers are safe spaces na kung saan ang mga victims, they can recover and seek help. So for the confidentiality protection, ang identity ng victim and personal information, they are all kept private. Yung mga court hearings, it may be done in private, and to protect victims from shame, judgment, or public exposure, ginagawa nila ito. Tinatago nila yung identity. Ang mga victims, they can also receive free legal aid na kung saan yung mga lawyers or attorneys, tumutulong sila doon sa kaso. They are given proper medical procedures and examinations. This is to ensure na yung mga biktima, they are treated professionally and also fairly. So, dapat meron ding training and awareness. Yung mga police, yung mga police officers, doktor, yung iba pang workers, dapat trained sila para i-handle yung mga ganitong cases kasi very sensitive. Dapat ang public educated sila about rape and paano tulungan ang mga victims. Okay, next we have double check ko lang yung study maps niya. Ayan, Republic Act 11313. 11313. Okay, so sa Republic Act 11313, or tinatawag din siyang Safe Spaces Act or Bawal Bastos Law, this was passed in 2019 para protektahan yung mga tao sa sexual harassment na nangyayari sa everyday places, kasama dyan yung kalsada at online spaces. So lahat ng tao, meron silang right to feel safe and respected anywhere. Mapapublic man yan, sa trabaho, sa school, or online. So itong batas na to, pinaparusahan niya yung kahit na anong unwanted sexual behaviors na makaka-feel sa isang tao na they are uncomfortable, they are unsafe, or they are disrespected. So ang gender-based sexual harassment, this is any unwanted sexual action or comment na pwedeng maging takot yung tao or yung victim, uncomfortable or offended. And it also creates hostility or unsafe environment. So where does this law apply? So ang batas na ito, it covers almost all spaces kasama ang public spaces, private, workplaces, schools, and also online platforms like social media and messaging apps. So example ng harassment, we have the catcalling. Catcalling, yung bitwyo, sabi nila, or hi ganda, hi gwapo, hi sexy, mga ganyan. Wolf whistling, yun yung witwyo. Unwanted sexual advances, yung parang may kapalit ka, gawin, bibigyan kita ng ganito, basta makipag-sex ka sa akin, parang ganon. Or yung mga offensive jokes, groping or inappropriate touching, and also online harassment like sending sexual messages, threats, or images. And the penalties for the offenders will be piyansa ng 1,000 up to 500,000 pesos. Pwede ding makulong ng 1 month up to 6 years. So, depende ito kung gaano kaseryoso yung act. So, this law is important because it promotes safety and respect sa lahat ng environment. Additionally, gender equality sinusuportahan niya, and it empowers victims na magsalita and mag-report. It also encourages people na maging responsable sa kanilang mga actions. Okay, next we have Republic Act 6725. Yan. Republic Act 6725, or Prohibition on Discrimination or Anti-Discrimination in Employment Law. So this was passed in 1989 para masigurado na ang mga babae, they are treated fairly in the workplace. Ang mga employers, they are not allowed to treat women unfairly dahil lang sa kanilang gender. Dapat daw ang mga babae, they have the same opportunities, parehas ang bayad or sahod, and parehas ang treatment as men sa trabaho. Employers cannot discriminate against women pagdating sa salary because of unequal pay. Dapat ang mga babae, meron silang, nakaka-receive sila ng patas na bayad for equal work. Of course, they are also entitled for promotion and training. Yan, and also career growth. And kailangan ang desisyon ng kumpanya should be based doon sa skills nila and performance at hindi dahil sa gender. If ever the company violates this law, meron mga kaukulang parusa. So may mga piyansa and imprisonment. Also, meron ding additional na law under the labor code. Okay? Mm, 7192. Okay, Republic Act 7192, or ito yung Women in Development and Nation Building Act. So this was passed in the year 1992 para masigurado na ang mga babae, they are treated as equal partners with men in building and developing the country. Ang mga babae, kailangan meron silang equal rights, equal opportunities, equal participation in all areas of society, especially in government programs and national development. So, ang government, kailangan ma-recognize niya na ang mga babae, they play an important role in nation building. And also, they promise na bibigyan nilang mga kababaihan ng patas na karapatan at oportunidad kagaya din sa mga lalaki. So, ano nga ba ang kino-cover ng law na ito? It's support for women's programs, like for example, government funds, gagawa ng mga programs for women, equal participation, kailangan ang mga babae, meron silang ability na sumali at meron din silang equal benefit sa mga development projects. Hindi dapat sila nale-left out sa programs or decision making. Also, there will be removal of gender bias na kung saan ang gobyerno kailangan i-review nila, ayusin nila yung policies na unfair sa mga kababaihan. Sa equal legal rights naman, ang mga babae kahit kasal sila, pwede silang magdesisyon, pwede silang pumirma ng mga kontrata kagaya din ng mga lalaki. So, ang mga babae din, they can join clubs, organizations, associations, kagaya din ng rights and privileges ng mga lalaki. Also, women can enter military schools, they can train and graduate and become officers. Women can also apply for SSS or GSIS and pag-ibig coverage to help them aid with their financial security. Okay. Yan. Next up, we have the Republic Act 7600 or tinatawag nating Rooming In and Breastfeeding Act. So it was passed in 1992 para ma-encourage and maprotektahan ang breastfeeding at ma-practice yung keeping mothers and babies together. Kasi nga importante ang bond ng parent at ng baby. So ang mga hospital kailangan i-support nila yung breastfeeding and papayagan nila mga newborn babies to stay close to their mothers right after birth. Kaya kung mapapansin ninyo, kapag kapanganak ng mga babae or ng nanay, yung baby dinidikit agad sa skin ng nanay or tinatawag na skin-to-skin contact to promote yung rapport, communication, yung bond nilang mag-ina. So, what is rooming in? So, rooming in, ibig sabihin, yung baby, kung ano ang room ni mommy after manganak, doon din siya. Hindi siya pwedeng mahiwalay. Hindi siya pwedeng ilagay sa nursery unless needed. Because lilinisan, bibihisan, ganyan. Or may sakit, gano'n. What does the law require? So, ang law, sabi niya, kailangan may mga rooming in hospitals or mayroong rooming in doon sa mga hospitals or pinapractice nila yon na kung saan ang mga maternity services must practice rooming in. And it applies to both government and private hospitals. Breastfeeding promotion, ang mga nanay kailangan maturuan sila ano nga ba ang benefits ng breastfeeding, paano ang tamang pagpapasuso, and ang hospital kailangan i-support and i-encourage nila ang breastfeeding. So, dito sa may Urdaneta District Hospital, bawal dyan ang bote, kinukuha nila. Kasi it violates Republic Act number 7600. Meron ngang exceptions ang 7600. Ang rooming in or breastfeeding, hindi siya pwedeng i-apply kung yung baby ay meron siyang medical condition or yung mother meron siyang medical problem na nagpe-prevent ng breastfeeding. So, sa mga hospital na susunod sa batas na to, pwede silang makareceive ng tax benefits and also additional government support. So, kumbaga may reward sila. Kapag na-violate ng mga hospitals ang law na ito, meron silang mga warnings, may suspension of permits, and iba't ibang administrative sanctions. And so, Republic Act 7600 is important because it improves yung health ng baby, wherein ang breast milk nagbibigay yan ng essential nutrients and protection. It also strengthens yung bonding, yung sinasabi ko kanina. Kasi may relationship agad between mother and baby. Also, it reduces healthcare costs. Kasi kapag sa breastfeeding kasi mas nagiging healthier ang baby kaysa formula feeding. So, syempre kapag ganon, fewer or very less lang ang hospital visits. And also, it empowers mothers wherein they support their right to breastfeed and it promotes public health to improve overall community well-being. Okay. Ang kati ng ilong ko. Wait lang ha. Okay. Next, we have Republic Act 7322 or Increased Maternity Benefits. So, it was passed and approved in 1992 para magbigay ng better maternity benefits for female workers sa private companies. So, yung mga babae nagtatrabaho and nabuntis sila, kailangan makareceive sila ng paid leave and financial support para makarecover sila and maalagaan nila yung mga newborn baby. Sino ang eligible? Ang mga babae makaka-receive ng maternity benefit kung empleyado sila sa private sector, nakapagbayad sila ng 3 SSS contribution within the last 12 months bago manganak or bago nakunan, and dapat currently employed sila. Ang maternity benefits dalawa yan. We have the normal delivery and cesarean delivery. Kapag ang babae nanganak ng normal, 60 days ang bayad sa kanya. Yung leave niya 60 days. And yung sahod niya per month, yun din ang makukuha niya. Pag cesarean delivery naman, 78 days paid leave. 78 days yan class kasi mahirap makarecover ang cesarean. Dahil cesarean is also a major surgery. Unlike sa normal na lalabas lang sa vagina, parang 1 week lang okay na sila. Pero ang cesarean, kailangan niya ng long-term na recovery. So, may additional na 18 days. So, benefits apply only doon sa first 4 pregnancies or deliveries. Kapag ikalima na, hindi na pwede. Mm. So, Republic Act 7322 is important because binibigyan niya ng time to recover ang mother after childbirth, which protects yung health ng women. It also ensures na ang mga babae nagbibigay pa rin or nakaka-receive pa rin sila ng income habang naka-leave sila. So, merong financial support. And also, yung rights ng mga trabahador na babae is napagbibigyan or nasusuportahan. It promotes gender equality naman. And also, it allows mother to care for and bond with their baby. So, nasusuportahan yung family life. Okay. Next, Soji Bill. Hindi siya Soulja Boy, it's Soji Bill. Okay, so sa Soji Bill or tinatawag nating Sexual Orientation, Gender Identity, and Gender Expression Bill was proposed anti-discrimination law na nagpoprotekta sa mga tao because of unfair treatment based dahil sa kanilang sexual orientation, sa kanilang gender identity, and gender expression. So I think I do not need to explain the definitions or the meanings of sexual orientation, gender identity, and gender expression because I've already discussed this during our prelim period. So, kailangan sa bill na ito, wala dapat matatrato ng unfair, walang mahaharas, walang pagkakaitan ng oportunidad dahil lang sa kanilang pagkatao. So, gusto ng bill na ito na ma-prevent yung discrimination sa school, sa trabaho, sa public services. It protects people from harassment and violence, and also they promote equal rights and fair treatment for all. Importante ang SOGI Bill dahil it supports the idea na lahat ay pantay-pantay under the law. Nagkakaroon din siya ng unfair treatment na pag ginawa yung unfair treatment, it will be punishable by law. Also, it encourages respect, understanding, and acceptance of differences, and it helps prevent and punish harassment, bullying, and abuse. Ini-encourage din yung mga school, mga workplaces, and communities na maging safe siya para sa lahat. And also, kapag ang mga tao, they feel safe and accepted, they are more likely na magtrabaho ng tuloy-tuloy or productively, pwede sila mag-start ng business, and they may be able to contribute to the community or economy. Okay? So, if you have any questions, class, that needs clarification about this topic, you may approach me in the faculty psychology department, and I will be gladly to explain to you yung mga topics na hindi mo maintindihan. Okay, so that ends our discussion for chapter 9, and I will see you soon, class. Thank you for listening. Bye-bye.